This is Hello Hockey with Sean Bell and Tom Gazzola.
Hello, hockey. Happy Saturday. Hope you're doing well out there. Tom Gazzola, Sean Bell, and Ben Thompson with you for another edition of this fantastic program. It's exciting. It's Christmas season. Lots of great hockey, Winter Classic stuff, coaches getting fired, players being traded and threatened. We've got a quote-unquote best-on-best so-called tournament coming up. Whew. This is going to be great. We have lots to talk about today. We've got a great show for you. As always, Ty Gretzky will join us. Speaking of the Winter Classic, the Gretzky Hockey School, which I have the honor of being a part of every summer, will be doing a Chicago event at the end of the month in conjunction with the Winter Classic, as well as they're bringing back Gretzky's basement.
Oh, yeah, that's exciting.
It's cool. It's like a museum, art exhibit, / store, pop-up shop, I guess. And then they had a tie-in with Tyson Berry's beer company last year.
Yep.
I think Trevor Gretzky's involved with a little bit. And I think that's going to continue. So we'll have Ty on. He'll discuss. We'll have Pagnotta on. He'll tell us what the hell is going on with Luke Richardson getting fired, Anders Sorensen taking over at Chicago.
Basic tape-to-tape passing in Chicago.
Well, I have to ask you about that shortly. We'll also get to this Jacob Trouba stuff.
Jacob Trouba. Man, the stuff's crazy.
It is crazy. We'll deep dive, as we like to say.
Do you mind the fact that he's being so outspoken?
Nope. I think it's fantastic. I think it's refreshing. I think it's a peek behind the curtain of what's going on with the New York Rangers. Had a great conversation with one of their staff members, or actually a couple of them, in the summer, and was told, yeah, it's intense around there. Like, it's...
So they go from being a top 4 team last year to a potential Stanley Cup contender to what are we going to do now?
Well, they signed Shesterkin to a monster contract, too.
Which is fine. Do you think that's why they traded Trouba?
No,
to
because
kind of free up some money to get him there?
He had 1 year left at $8 million, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's wild.
What say you? Text us, 780-218-9999. If you're watching on YouTube, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're consuming this fine program. Get it to the nasty chat. It's great to be here, as always. We begin the show with the morning coffee, brought to you by Fox Coffee. Check them out just 2 blocks south of Rogers Place on 104th Street. They celebrated the grand opening a couple of weeks ago. Enjoyed delicious sandwiches, soups, and pastries made fresh in-house. Bellezy, I need this coffee so bad. Played hockey last night.
Yep. You
My
took
back,
one too,
I took one in the back. Well, ribs back. My own uncle.
Your own uncle. That was personal.
Uncle Johnny.
It's a personal shot. He knew you were there, and he got you.
Well, Uncle Johnny, happy birthday, first of all. It's his birthday. And it was a fun game. Like, listen, it's a glorified pickup game on Fridays, okay?
Yep. And what is it? Is it it's just beer league, or is it?
Sure, yeah, call it beer league.
Shinny?
It's, yeah, there's 2 goalies. They're pretty good. There's a good mix of... don't giggle. Relative. Good.
I wasn't laughing about that, but sure.
Can you just hear me out?
Sorry, I'm listening.
Thank you.
I'm listening.
2 goalies. They're all right. They're good enough. And then a good mix of younger, older guys, varying skill levels, and usually it's a pretty good skate. So there's 10.
So is it Shinny or is it beer league?
Well, it's no league. There's no standings.
Okay, so then it's just Shinny.
It's glorified shinny.
Which is Shinny?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's Shinny.
Well, I call it a step up.
Yeah,
and I'm out there.
all good.
You know?
Sure.
Anyway. 10
why
seconds.
do you keep ducking our Shinny?
Because you invite me at the worst
Why do you keep
times.
ducking our Shinny?
You text me this week. You have, okay, first of all, the Silent Ice Center is beautiful.
I text you like with a couple days notice, actually.
Yeah, and then you go, hey, can you come play? I said, when? You said 12:30. I said, which day? Wednesday. You know what's happening?
I text you on Monday. So here we are.
Do you know
That's
what's
2
happening
days.
on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on this fine station, Edmonton Sports Talk,
Tell me. Do tell.
from noon to 1?
Please do
The
tell.
Oil Stream with Tom Gazzola and Dustin
there you go. Get a
Nielsen.
plug in. Nice work.
So it's like me inviting you to something when I know you're on the ice coaching your team at practice.
You've done that before.
We're having a fight. What a
Is
way
this
to
our
start
first
the show.
fight?
No, we're not fighting. Benny, how you doing?
I'm doing great, boys.
You're
Doing
gonna
great.
have to separate us. By the
Yeah,
end
no,
of the show.
I have to play middle here. I have to break you guys up here
Yeah.
if it gets too feisty.
Jeez.
No bad driving on the way here. You guys,
No,
you guys are both
roads are good.
No, it was great.
Much better
Okay,
than
good.
last
Great.
week.
Good. Yeah.
Hope you're doing well in
They were
Calgary
dry.
too.
Yep. Same here.
Very nice. Very nice. Lots to get to today. Obviously, 11 games on the schedule. Ty Gretzky will be joining us. Dave Pagnotta by phone today. Just a heads up there, Benny. Lots of great topics to talk about as well. How's your team doing, Bellezy?
We're off.
Lucky.
Our 18s are off.
Yeah.
We are in the middle of our winter championships.
Yeah.
We've got the 14s are playing. They had a couple tough losses last couple days,
Mhm.
but there's been lots of parent meetings. It's been good. It's a cool vibe around the rink. There's lots going on, lots of hockey to watch. It's fun.
That's important.
And all the coaches get together. They have a few beverages here and there, and we get to talk lots about the stuff that we don't normally get to talk about, right? Because we're always so busy and wrapped up trying to take care of our teams, and sometimes you just need to go out and you see another coach and you just want to chat about how things are going and what you can improve on. So it's good.
Excellent. Happy to hear that. All right, lots of Canadian content in action today in the National Hockey League. Winnipeg visiting Chicago. Chicago with their new coach. Debut behind the bench for Anders Sorensen. Washington at Montreal. Washington, very strong season thus far.
I know. It's crazy.
And Ovechkin skating.
What is going on there? Did he not break his leg?
Yeah,
17 days later, you're now skating?
yeah.
Ooh,
Oof.
interesting.
Modern science.
Modern science? Russian
Perhaps.
gas?
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll leave that there. I'll leave that
He
there.
doesn't do that. Come on now.
Nashville at Ottawa, Toronto at Pittsburgh, and the night ends with St. Louis. In Edmonton, Vancouver, and Calgary in action tomorrow. We'll touch on the Flames and the Canucks a little bit with Dave as well. Okay. You want to talk about this, and I want to talk about this. You showed me the drill that the Hawks are running. First drill.
Sorensen
Give
was
us,
running?
give us the story on this, because Luke Richardson gets let go yesterday. Obviously, it's been a terrible season for the Chicago Blackhawks, 8-16-2. Like I mentioned, they're going to have the Winter Classic coming up, and that's going to be at Wrigley Field. It's going to be awesome. It's a really neat event. We had the Heritage Classic here in Edmonton last year, and it's so well done. It's a finely well-run machine that the NHL has created and developed and executes on every year. So the Blackhawks are hosting. They get the Blues. They're 8-16-2. They fire Luke Richardson. And then they do what with Anders Sorensen in his first practice?
Well, from what I saw, it was just a basic passing tape-to-tape drill.
Yeah,
And I
it
know
was.
that coaches sometimes they get a little bit saucy and they want to, come in and they want to do their own thing. And I just found this one funny because they just line up guys across the blue line and it's literally you skate to the guy and you just pass it tape to tape, which is good. So is he now coming in saying, guys, we don't pass the puck well enough? Because that could be a telltale sign of where he thinks his team's at.
What would the players think about that? If you were on the team,
I don't
if you're
think the
still
players
playing,
really care.
they don't
that
care.
much.
They're like, this guy wants me to make simple passes and skate to it.
Yeah. I mean,
They're
it
just
is
like,
good
"All
to
right, I
kind of
guess
get you warmed up and passing the puck. But yeah, there's obviously other drills you can do to kind of accomplish the same thing. So I'm wondering, does Sorensen now think that his team just doesn't play fast enough, can't make tape-to-tape passes, and hence why he's decided to do this one? Because
I don't know.
you can incorporate drills with lots of passing that have lots of flow, lots of movement, but this is like, yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
They're literally crisp pass, follow the pass to the guy you gave it to.
Yeah.
Next guy moves on.
Yep.
So that's not a slight towards the team?
Well, that's kind of my point. Like,
Yeah, that's
is it
what
a
I
slight
thought.
towards the team? Is it, guys, we need to be better. We need to figure out how to move pucks quicker. I don't know. I thought it was a very interesting drill. It could also be just flat out blown out of proportion, but it is a very interesting one.
What's the reaction to it? I mean, I know it's very rational on social media, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. It's just a place of flowers and sunshine.
Yeah. Always.
First comment is, how soon before the Hawks get a real coach?
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Okay. How about
But-
another? What?
I will ask you this. So the Hawks are what you said, 8-16 and 2 or 3. You fire Luke Richardson. Why are you firing Luke Richardson? Are you upset at where the team currently is based off who you went out and signed? Like, I know that they signed a bunch of players,
Yeah.
but like they're just not good enough.
They aren't.
And so now you're going to replace him. And I'm not trying to disrespect Anders Sorensen, but you're going to replace him. Is this his first coaching gig in the NHL?
Right? It is.
You know, it's similar to what happened with Jeremy Colleton.
yeah,
like
but that
Collie-
worked.
It worked
Kind of.
for a little bit,
Yeah.
but
You-
then at the
you
same
played
time,
World Juniors with him, right?
yeah, like you've
Yeah.
got a bunch of the players on your team that are older than your coach. Doesn't
Yeah.
last very long. What did it last for Collie? 2 seasons?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So I'm curious as to what was the reason. Like, did he lose the room? Because if you're not good enough and you bring this guy in to be part of that rebuild, like, well, you want to see him through with that rebuild. Because you look at all these different organizations, they always do this. And actually, David Quinn, who's a former coach of mine, he's been a part of that multiple times. The Rangers were in the rebuild. He came in. He helped it get to where it is now.
Yeah.
He got fired after. Goes to San Jose. Same kind of idea. They're obviously in the midst of their rebuild as well.
Mm-hmm.
But there's certain coaches that, like, it just seems like you bring these guys in to help with the rebuild because you're trying to, create a culture. You're trying to, instill work ethic or whatever that is that you're looking for. But, like, is the job done for Richardson? Was he that bad? I'm just curious as to what that situation was.
Well, I do recall he was an up-and-coming coach, was highly regarded as an assistant in Montreal.
Yeah.
They went with him for 2.25 seasons.
2.25 seasons.
Yeah.
And so he hasn't really necessarily had the opportunity to see what he can do from a standpoint with a legit lineup. In those 2.5 seasons,
Right.
you knew fully that you were rebuilding.
He's
You tanked on purpose so you can get Bedard in one of those seasons.
They have Bedard. He's leading them in
Yeah.
scoring with 19 points.
Yeah.
They
You
don't
haven't
generate much offense.
They don't generate any offense.
Richardson's coaching record through 190 games, 57, 118, and 15 for a 339 points percentage.
But that's because they tanked.
Right.
So you can't actually look at that number and be like, hey, man, he's a terrible coach. Because they as an organization, they made a concerted effort to say, we are going to suck.
That they do.
And they
They do.
And so that's kind of my question. Like, you're such an up-and-coming coach that people are lining up to interview you.
Mm-hmm.
You get a job that's fairly sought after. They go into tank mode. They get the player that they want. Now, have they addressed and have they brought in enough talent for that team to now take the next step in their evolution?
You tell us, 780-218-9999, because this is their lineup and what these guys have for point totals.
Yep.
Bedard,
Yep.
19 points in 26 games. Ryan Donato, second in team scoring, 15 points in 24 games. Teuvo Teravainen, who they went and got from Carolina, 12 points in 26 games.
Yep.
That's not good enough. Nick Foligno, their captain, 11 points in 26 games. Alex Vlasic also at 11 points. Then you've got Craig Smith, who's essentially a third or fourth liner at 10 points. Taylor Hall, who's been a healthy scratch this year, 10 points. Tyler Bertuzzi, who is supposed to help this team, 10 points. Seth Jones, 10 points. Connor Murphy, 10 points. Lucas Reichel, 9. Jason Dickinson, 8. Patty Maroon, 8. Philip Kurashev, 5. Ilya Mikheyev, who they brought in, 5. TJ Brody on the back end, 5. Alec Martinez, 3
this team's
assists.
just not good enough.
It's not a good team. I also want to add that of this entire roster, 2 players are plus players. Connor Murphy's +1. Ilya Mikheyev is +2. Everyone else is -100, essentially. That's a hyperbole, obviously, but
Yeah.
Philip Kurashev, -21. What do they call that? The Masters leaderboard?
Yes, it is.
Connor
Going for
Bedard,
the green
-12.
jacket.
Teuvo Teravainen, -14. Tyler Bertuzzi, -13. Taylor Hall, -11. Not good enough. That's a bad team.
It is. So does it, when it goes back to my original question, so what was the reason, the true reason of why they fired?
He's the scapegoat.
Okay.
That to me is the most logical answer.
Like, do they feel that they wanted to take a step this season based on guys that they brought in?
I would assume
And because
as much.
they haven't really necessarily taken that step, that's why now he's on the outs?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
Interesting.
Tyler Bertuzzi is supposed to be a good player, not having a good year. Taylor Hall's still supposed to be an effective player,
Yep.
Hart Trophy winner, not having a good year. Connor Bedard's not having an outstanding season. Teuvo Teravainen was supposed to come in and help from Carolina, not happening. Alec Martinez to help stabilize the blue line. He's been hurt a bunch, still not happening. Seth Jones is just kind of there, it seems like.
Yep.
That's a bad situation.
It's a very interesting situation because, like, I look at Tyler Bertuzzi, and in some ways, I would say he's a perfect complementary player.
Okay.
In other respects, I'm like, well, he could be the engine that stirs a drink based on, like, the way he conducts himself, way he plays.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a heart and soul guy. Like, he plays hard.
He's like a mutt.
He is a mutt.
Yeah.
So in one respect, I'm like, well, this guy is a complimentary player. So when you look at him in Toronto, he had 43 and 80. That screams complimentary.
Mm-hmm.
But he also, the minute they put him on the power play, that power play started doing good things because he took so much attention in front of the net because he was actually a really good net front presence. Straw that stirs a drink a little bit. So then you go back to his earlier days, Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
He had 62 and 68.
Yeah.
Now that's suggesting that this guy is the real deal. So, like, what is Tyler Bertuzzi?
Complimentary player, like you said.
Yeah.
Not good enough. A couple texts have come in. Let's go to Penner's Pancakes. Says Pagnotta should have some juicy gossip today. He will. And then Penner's Pancakes adds, maybe just like Nashville, too many new players might not jive chemistry-wise.
Good. Yeah.
Ace96 says Bedard will have a great career.
I also saw one that said Bedard is Alexander Daig.
Oh,
Oof.
boy.
Oof. I don't know about that.
How about Troll? Man, Stan Bowman sure left the Blackhawks in shambles. So glad the Oilers hired that guy. Sarcasm in parentheses.
Any chance we can get to just a little dig, eh? Just twist that knife in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I kind of get a kick out of it. It's kind of funny.
Well, those Blackhawks are hosting the Winter Classic. Ty Gretzky will be there. He'll have the Gretzky Hockey School camp happening. Just a mini one. Usually it's a 5-day camp. I think he's just doing 2 or 3.
Yep.
And then Gretzky's basement will also be there, which is a neat concept that started last year. We'll talk to Ty. He'll be joining us in about 10 minutes. And then Pagnotta, like Penner's Pancakes alluded to, the juicy gossip, the Trouba stuff, the Blackhawks stuff that we were just talking about. 4 Nations face-off. Do you want to go into that a little bit?
We should.
We have like a minute or two before we got to get to the power play.
Yeah, we had Dusty kind of give his take on the 4 Nations and where they slotted. And I found it interesting, a little bit
What,
interesting.
what elements of these rosters have you found interesting?
Elements of the rosters, well, he had Canada ranked number 1 as forwards, which I don't disagree with because you have, arguably 2 of the top 3 forwards in the world on your team.
Sure.
So I agree with that. The defense, I believe he had the United States number 1.
Yep. I agree with that.
Goaltending, did he have United States number 1 or number 2?
I can't remember. I briefly saw it. It was just a tweet,
I think
right?
it was 1 as well. So he had goaltending and defense 1 for the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you could categorize special teams if you want to. And obviously Canada would be number 1 on that one. I think it's going to be a closer game than we think.
Are we just disregarding Sweden and Finland here? I
think everybody in North America is. And like those teams aren't there's no slouches there. But I just think that because Canada is such a powerhouse, at least on paper it looks that way.
Minus the goaltending. That it's easy to disregard those teams. And the States obviously looks like a powerhouse as well. Absolutely. To me, the States are the favorite.
You've mentioned that.
I stand by it.
Why do you feel that way?
I think, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I think the U.S. development program is superior than Canada's now. I think it has surpassed Canada's. Now, I say that, but I also recognize and fully believe that Canada produces better players. It has better talent and has a better passion for the game.
Yes.
But the type of rock star, superstar player that the U.S. continually pumps out is very impressive to me. I think they've gotten something very right lately.
I do agree with you on that.
And I think they have surpassed Canada. And I think Canada has a little bit of work to do as a whole in our development.
Yeah, but I would say that conversation's probably more slated towards the World Juniors.
No,
these guys
I'm talking about the NHL guys too.
Okay, that's fair.
I think it has infiltrated the NHL. Those guys have matured and entered the NHL. That era of excellent U.S. development is now
so they've
taking
got
over
Matt
the
Boldy,
NHL.
Kyle Connor, Jack Eichel, Jake Gensel, Jack Hughes, Chris Kreider, Dylan Larkin, Austin Matthews, JT Miller, Brock Nelson, Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, and Vincent Trocheck. That is a deep lineup.
Hell yeah, it is. And
There's
they
no
didn't even
holes.
have Tage Thompson on there.
There's no holes in that.
Where's
lineup.
Keller?
But then the biggest argument and the biggest rebuttal that you're going to get is, well, there's no Austin Matthews, or there's no Nathan McKinnon, there's no Connor McDavid, and there's no Sidney Crosby.
I respect that.
So that's the argument you're going to get back.
Yep. But
And can those 3 guys by themselves change the outcome of a game against the United States?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. The
So-
3 of the best.
They are. Now, the only thing that I can see from a U.S. standpoint, and this is just my opinion, I agree with your assessment what's happening in development across Canada versus the U.S. It's just a different beast. It's a conversation for another time, but I see it all the time. Canadian Four Nations roster, to me, will be so fast and in your face that it doesn't matter who's on Team USA. You can't stop Connor McDavid. You can't stop Nathan McKinnon.
Connor Hellebuck can.
Well,
And he might.
Connor Hellebuck's a hell of a goaltender.
Yep.
Jake Ottinger's a hell of a goaltender.
Yep.
And Jeremy Swayman is a hell of a goaltender.
I'm not
But
so sold on Jeremy Swayman.
Fair enough.
But he's the third
But
string.
when Connor decides to be Connor,
That's scary.
it's real scary.
Yeah.
And there's nobody on this world that can handle him. They can't deal with that.
I know.
And they can't actually deal with Nathan McKinnon either.
I know.
And then you got to throw Cale McCarr into the mix just for, blanks and giggles.
Blanks and giggles are fun.
I have a tough time not keeping Canada where they are as a favorite, despite me looking at this roster and being like, man, I'm worried about them. They don't have Who's stopping those two players? Brock Faber, Adam Fox, Noah Hannafin, Quinn Hughes, Charlie McAvoy, Jacob Slavin, Zach Werenski.
Team defense. I don't know.
No, nobody is.
All right.
The teams that give them the most fits, like if you look at it from an NHL perspective, are guys that play them extremely hard.
Right.
In that entire crew, I don't see guys that have the ability to play them extremely hard.
Time will tell. We will pick this
Time will
conversation up with David Pagnotta. But right now, we've got to get to the modern power play. It's Edmonton's leading provider of made-to-measure clothing. Richie and Jared over at Modern Measure. From weddings to graduations, game day to the office, get custom fit because if you need a good business or casual look, they've got that and more made.
Yes, they do.
Just for you. Here is Jared with the modern power play.
Hey guys, it's Jared from Modern Measure, here for your December 7th installment of the Modern Power Play. So lately I've been contacted by some Sportsnet 960 fans down in Calgary, and we're getting some great feedback about the show in general, but also this segment. So I figured I would suck it up and give the listeners a nod and focus on the Flames for this week's Power Play. Now keep in mind, I bleed orange and blue, and I can never cheer for the Flames, never. But today I will be respectful and cheer for some of their wardrobe choices. So let's begin here with Nazem Kadri. He's wearing a slick velvet suit. I typically never do the pants myself, but I do love a nice velvet jacket for sure, especially a clean black one like this. You can dress it up, dress it down. It's a really nice addition to your wardrobe. This one's designed as a very traditional 2-button jacket with notch lapels and straight pockets. Now with fabrics like this one, or big patterns or a significant pattern, it's always good to lean on less is more. This fabric and those fabrics are always doing a lot of the talking, so it's good to keep it simple with the customizations. In this case, Nazem has a little flash with his buttons and a gray accent thread on the lapel. They both look great, and also a nice touch with a gray shirt to bring it all together. Next we have Jonathan Huberdeau. He's wearing a beautiful navy suit with big window pane pattern. This fabric is right up my alley. It's bold, but not too bold, but it's definitely a statement piece. Again, a very classic styling like Kadri's. Remember, just because you are going custom, you don't have to throw everything at a suit and see what sticks. Often it's how well a suit fits that is most noticeable. I really appreciate how Jonathan has accessorized his suit with a nice clean white shirt and a warm tone tie and pocket square. And come on, those Chelsea boots, those are sick. Now, if you guys were really paying attention, you would notice that both Kadri and Huberdeau are carrying their cell phones in their hands. So a shout out to Richie. Looks like they're really taking his advice down there in Calgary. Okay, and finally, so Blake Coleman, he wears a great gray suit made of a nice heavier wool, giving it a nice English feel. I'm a big fan of fabrics like this, and he's wearing it very well with that scarf and hat to complete the look. His suit has a nice peak lapel, as well as the added ticket pocket, and he's also increased the width of his lower pockets. Just gives it that really nice Old English feel. It's definitely a clean style, and the choice of fabric, which gives you a ton of flexibility for different shirt color pattern combinations, and can be worn with a lot of different colored shoes as well. Well, that about wraps up this week. I feel like I need to wash my mouth out with soap, maybe call my therapist, but I do have to give Calgary some credit on their Instagram account. They do showcase a lot of good stuff as far as the clothing aspect of the team. So that's about it. Thanks for everyone, and we'll see you next time.
There's Jared with the modern power play, taking a look at the Calgary Flames. Nicely done, Jared.
Yes.
Bridging the divide, but he's gonna have to wash his mouth out with soap. Some good looks there. I like the Huberdeau one, and then the Blake Coleman one was pretty good. The Kadri, what was that, like velour? Nothing touches this body but velour. But that was good. And then he mentioned he was down in Calgary, and he had some clients that were like, "Hey, listen to the show on 960."
Yeah.
That's very cool. So
very
awesome stuff. Shout out to everyone down in Calgary. And I went and saw the boys. I actually got a new suit and jacket.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Nice.
Some other stuff too. But,
Do you want a detail or?
No, you'll see it. You'll see it. It's gray suit, nice, I think, wool overcoat, And then, I got some jeans.
Ah, nice.
Yeah,
Attaboy.
yeah. I needed some. Blew a hole in my best pair a couple weeks ago. So the boys can do jeans there, and great stuff from Jared over at Modern Measure. Go see them just in the Edmonton Tower, right outside of Ice District. All right, when we return, Ty Gretzky joins the show. We'll talk about what's coming up at the Winter Classic. He's got the Gretzky Hockey School there, as well as Gretzky's basement, and we'll find out how his dad's doing too. You're listening to Hello Hockey, watching as well on EST's YouTube channel. Shout out to everybody in Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, listening as we roll along on another busy Saturday. We'll be back right after this.
Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Movies, comics, and television. That's what you get with Friends of Edmonton Sports Talk, the MCTV podcast. Join hosts Corey Graham and Mark Majot Monday and Friday nights at 7 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join friend of EST, Guy Flaming, for the Pipeline Show, Monday nights at 8 and Saturday at noon, as he has you covered with CHL, CJHL, USHL, NAHL, NCAA, and U Sports, plus the World Juniors, Frozen Four, and NHL Draft on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Elks Call is the newest Edmonton Elks podcast located in Edmonton, discussing everything Elks. Join friends of EST, Scout and Catherine, Friday nights at 8 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Welcome back to Hello Hockey. Tom Gazzola, Sean Bell, Ben Thompson with you on Edmonton Sports Talk, Sportsnet Calgary, Sportsnet Vancouver. Hope you're having a great Saturday. Of course, lots to talk about as we get set for a busy day in the National Hockey League. I should mention portions of this hour brought to you by Nexar Equipment. If you need maintenance, service, or repairs on your vehicle or heavy equipment, score a 10% discount at Nexar Equipment. With code Hello Hockey, visit nexarequipment.ca or call 587-402-6665. Nexar Equipment. Great to have them on board as well. If you're listening on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Apple Music, EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player, Sportsnet Radio, we appreciate that. And then if you're watching on our EST YouTube channel, like, share, subscribe, hit that thumbs up button as we roll along. Okay, we're going to get you in the game, which is brought to you by Summit. Join us on the third floor of the Silent Ice Center, a place where great food, buds, and bevies come together. Wicked game day specials with big screens and big sound, and most days you can find Bellezy having a beverage and some great food at Summit after a hard day of coaching his U18s and then yelling at the U15s.
Don't tell my secrets.
You usually get like the head table in that monster restaurant. You got the whole booth to yourself. People come and sit with you.
It's not even true.
And you're like, I'm the GM of this team.
It's not even true.
I run this thing.
It's not even true.
This is my team. We do it my way.
Listen, Tom.
What?
Don't be salty because you got hit in the back by your uncle.
My uncle hit me in the back at hockey last night.
And now you're taking it out on everybody else.
I got a bruise. All right.
Don't do that to Ty.
I'm not doing anything to Ty. This guy knows a thing or two about having an uncle. Mess with him. Uncle Keith, always on Ty's case whenever we're working Gretzky Hockey
that's for
School.
sure.
Yeah. What's up, Ty? How you doing?
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Great to have you
Great
back.
seeing you again.
Hey, yeah, exactly. You're busy. I know you made the announcement yesterday with the first, I think, slate of hockey schools for the upcoming summer. But you have a special one coming up, too, in Chicago. And we were just talking about the Hawks and their coaching change and stuff in the first segment. Tell us about, bringing the hockey school to Chicago, which I know you have before, and then kind of having it coincide with the Winter Classic. And then you got the basement there, too.
Yeah, it's going to be special. But yeah, for the summer, we're excited. We opened the camps last week. So just kind of getting signups now and getting the registrations and figure out how many kids we're going to have, et cetera. But we're really looking forward to, in 3 weeks, we're going to be in Chicago for a 2-day school, which is going to coincide with the Winter Classic, like you said. So it should be a lot of fun. We have a lot of exciting surprises in store. And as you know, Coach, the camps are a lot of fun, and bringing all the guys together to coach the kids, it's a blast, and really looking forward to it.
Hey, I'll ask you this because let me just throw this at you, Ty, for that count, and then
Yeah.
we'll get to the basement stuff for sure. But when it's a 2-day like that compared to the standard 5, how do you go about instruction and on ice, because you don't have the 5 days to, you know, how we always emphasize growth, you know, with Jeff Smith and Mark Ciaccio and your Uncle Keith. How do you, you know, concentrate that into 2 days?
That's a good question. I mean, you know, Uncle Keith, he's very adamant about that. Focus on the fundamentals first, and then get the base set, and once you get the ground rules, then you go from there. So this is gonna be a little different, as you mentioned. We're packing it all into 2 days. They'll have a little more ice time in the 2 days than they usually do in a day, but it'll be a lot of fun. We're going to just make it more of a action-packed, fun camp, and we'll kind of keep it the fundamentals stuff on the side, as they're in the middle of their seasons right now, right? So kind of keep it more into skill work and team play and stuff. So we'll make it very competitive. We'll have competitions, tournaments, and as you know, the ball hockey tournament is one of the favorites. Get drafted on one of the 4 teams my dad played for. But yeah, it's just packing it all into 2 days. And with the support of the Chicago Blackhawks, they're going to bring some exciting stuff one of the days. And a couple of the guys there, as you know, our friend Patty Maroon's there.
Yes.
His brother will be coaching with us. Sean McTavish is coming in from Edmonton.
Of course he is. He's
Yeah.
coaching one of Bellezy's team right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorites.
He's a beauty.
But yeah, no, we'll do everything we can to have as much fun as we can in those 2 days. And we're really looking forward to it. We've done it in the past. You try to get as much as you can in 2 days, but it's not like a 5-day hockey school where it's just the best. I mean, as you know. But yeah, no, as we coincided with the Winter Classic, we were excited and fortunate enough. We're going to announce it next week, but we're going to be doing my grandpa's basement again at Wrigley Field. So it'll be really special. Really looking forward to that. Just building it out again, something at the Winter Classic for American fans and even the Canadians that come down for it to check out and see and experience. So should be a lot of fun, but stay tuned for more on that.
Nice
sure.
tease.
Yeah, no
nice
kidding.
Tease. Go ahead,
before we dive more into obviously the basement, you know, you look back at you're looking at your camps, and you mentioned it's going to be 2 days and it's going to be action packed. Can you just kind of fill in, like, what are those days going to look like? What's the format of the camp? So obviously, if there's people listening, maybe they can jump in as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we only have the 2 days, so we actually only do 2 age groups instead of the 3. So we limit the camp to only 50 kids, and the fan base in Chicago is amazing. We're already filled up, and kids are super excited and looking forward to the week or the 2 days already, and hearing from them constantly about what's going to happen and go on. But like I said, we'll do a little more ice time the first day, but they'll be on the ice working with Aaron and Sean, doing skill stuff and stations and just skating, right? Having fun, being on the ice. And then when they're not on the ice, they'll be doing the floor hockey. And as Tom knows, it's a lot of fun and one of the kids' favorite parts.
Very passionate kids at floorball. They
For
get
sure.
really into it.
For sure.
Did you drag Az out of Spokane for this one? Did I hear that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try to keep the same crew around. I like our team, right?
It is
We
a
have a
good
lot
crew.
of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron Acevedo does great work in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene
Mhm.
for sure. Okay, Ty Gretzky with us, getting set for what should be a fun winter classic at Wrigley Field. Obviously, the Blackhawks going through some turmoil, but that's beside the point when it comes to this element of that weekend. Ty, the Gretzky's basement made its debut in Toronto at All-Star last year. And we had you on, and I saw Trev in there. I think Tristan was with us too. You took us through it. It was pretty neat. I saw more of it on social media, and it looked like it was super busy. But
I think you caught me at a crazy time in there.
yes,
It was pretty filled up at that moment, but I was glad you guys got to see it in person or on camera.
yeah, people liked
live.
it. They liked it.
Yeah,
but
that's awesome.
I tried to describe it, and I was like, it's like there's a shop to it, but at the same time, there's like a party vibe to it, and then there's like memorabilia, and then like art displays as well. And like how is it best to describe Gretzky's basement? Because you're bringing it back, and I'm sure you're going to improve it. And you learned some stuff last year, right?
For sure. No, I mean, you nailed it. We tried to create that hockey house at the event and create that experience. Just like my grandpa did with his basement. Anytime he had his tournament there, every kid at the tournament would come through the basement and see it. So, that's our goal. And like I said, me and my brother's doing this together. It's so much fun. It's a dream come true. Just getting the idea from, like I said, Michael's Jordan's son doing trophy room, same type of thing. Just building it out and kind of giving them that experience to see all of his last pair of skates from New York and his first pair of skates, and just all the different stories that each memorabilia and piece has to see. So it's pretty special, and look forward to showing everyone in Chicago and everyone that comes into Chicago.
Is it just open to the public, or do you have to get a ticket? Like, what's the details there? If someone's watching or listening and heading down to
For sure.
Chicago.
We're gonna have all the announcements next week, but
Okay.
it's gonna be open to the public 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. On game day. So should be a lot of fun. But as I mentioned, we'll announce all the details, and I think we're going to be doing it the 3rd and 4th as well for the College Fest. So that should be really cool.
Yes, we
with
should.
Notre Dame and all those teams coming in as well.
Yeah, I want to. Do you want to go?
Yeah, I wanted to ask quickly.
Sure.
Like, obviously, when you opened last year, you had a specific look and feel, to that basement. Just from seeing what we got when you were on, you could just tell like you wanted to style it a little bit like that basement where like people are coming in. There's really cool pieces. Are you going to try to keep that same look and feel in Chicago, or are you going to change it up? Like, what's your kind of thought process there?
We're going to try to make it similar feel. We have a couple trucks driving down from Toronto. That will bring everything to build it out. So that's the goal. And I'll make sure to get you guys some videos and pictures to see it. And
Absolutely.
It's going to be super fun. We're really fortunate getting a perfect space for this. The Chicago Cubs are amazing, and we've been fortunate to get something with them in the works, and it's going to be really special. It might be even better than the last one. So
nice.
That's super exciting.
Okay, Ty, one more on the hockey school, then we'll get to some other stuff here. I know you mentioned that maybe like the possibility of some expansion to other dates and locations for the hockey school. I don't know how much you can say about that, but I remember an owner of a new NHL team saying something to us in the summer. Hey, why don't you bring it here? Like, have conversations like that happened?
No, I mean, we're always trying to grow it and reach more cities and do more with it. We're going to try our best and see if we could add a couple more here. We're transitioning this summer with a a new partner with OVO, so it's going to be super exciting. And we have a lot of really cool stuff coming out this summer, so it should be good.
Yeah, and you're working with Roots on the jackets for the basement too,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, I mean, it was just couldn't think of any other brand that would tie it together and connect the dots. I mean, I think that was the only jacket my grandpa wore for 40 years, so it's all around in it. But no, it's special. My dad gave it to me, the jacket, when he passed, so might have to bring that one to showcase.
Nice. That
should be good.
Item. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Do you want to? Because I was going to ask you this: your work-life balance. I can hear the girls in the background. Your girl dad, Bellezy, just had his second kid, boy, this time. Yeah.
Thank you.
And how are you balancing this? I know you have a little bit of downtime, but you also help your dad out doing the NHL on TNT stuff, and then Sarah's busy.
I mean,
yeah.
No, I mean, I have a great wife, Sarah. She's the best, as you know, and the girls are crazy, but I mean, it's all worth it in the end. It's a lot of fun. I love being a girl dad, and she won't grab a stick or puck yet, but she likes to figure skate. So that's as far as we've gotten so far. But I keep pushing the gloves and stick and puck. So we'll see if she starts to enjoy it soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon she'll be able to just, grab them wherever they are, pick them up, and then just start, shooting the puck around.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, my daughter does that from time to time. She'll grab the little mini stick and then she'll wave it around and then she'll drop it in the middle of the floor. And I'm like,
she'll play mini sticks, but on the ice, she just wants to wear a dress and figure skate.
Like, you pick that thing back up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Bellezy, you want to talk about TNT? Because I know you're a big basketball fan too.
Obviously, we had Cassie Campbell on a while ago.
Yes.
She talked about some of the differences, obviously, between Sportsnet, TNT. What's your experiences, obviously, helping your dad with that? What's kind of your experience like being a part of a production like that?
I mean, it's incredible. I think we got lucky just being with the team they are. Like, it's priceless. It's a group of probably 20 to 30 people that run everything day to day, and it's the best team. A lot of them came from the basketball inside the NBA side, so they were open to my dad and Biz and all of them, just teaching them and telling them about hockey and asking them questions. So it's been so much fun, and I mean, they just allow Hank and my dad and them to pretty much do what they want, and kind of it's up to them how to control the narrative, and it's incredible. And he got really lucky and got in a really good spot. So he loves doing it, and we're going next week again. So he's super excited, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. They're doing the game at Wrigley as well. So
that's amazing.
It's been the best time. Thank you for asking. But it's awesome.
How much integration do they have with the inside NBA crew, Charles Barkley and those guys? Because you see it from time to time, and they obviously look like they're having a blast. But like, is there a ton of integration with those guys, or is it just kind of one-offs here and there, just based off of timing?
No, we cross paths frequently, especially during playoffs when they're in there the same days, or the baseball guys are in there. But it's funny, they'll all be watching the hockey game. They tend to like watching the hockey games more and learning about the hockey from Biz and my dad and Hank and them. And I mean, it's just, like I said, it's the team there, like our locker room or their locker room. The guys there are in it. It's between the basketball, baseball, and hockey guys. It's the best crew. It's really fun to be around, and I mean, very fortunate to learn what they do and see what they do every day to day. But it's the best. We love it.
Okay, Ty, I'm going to throw one last one at you. We were debating about Team Canada versus Team USA at this Four Nations face-off. The rosters were unveiled this week. I said the U.S. has the best team. I said they're the favorite. I like their development program. I see that Canada needs to do some work in that regard. You are conflicted because you got your dad is obviously a Canadian icon. Your mom's American. You live and work in the States. I know you have an affiliation to Team Canada, but at the same time, like, you are torn. So how do you look at this when it comes to Team USA versus Team Canada at the Four Nations face-off?
I'm all Team Canada here.
Okay,
Come
okay.
on. It's
He
not
is
even
not torn
close.
at all.
I got Coop and Talk. I mean, I grew up, my dad working with Team Canada, so we'd go to all the Olympics and World Championships, World Cup, and it was always Team Canada. And I'm all for it. I'm all Team Canada here, 100%.
I was trying to get you to crack there. Yeah.
You're trying
No,
to
I like
he
my
didn't
team.
even
I
bite
like
on
our
that.
team.
He's like,
Yeah.
shut up, Tom. Canada.
Not even, no chance.
Yeah. Oh, God. Okay. How is your dad doing, big boy? Is he doing
Oh,
all right?
he's great. Thank you for asking. No, he's great. Like I said, we're going to Atlanta next week, so we'll be on Wednesday. So he's super excited. He loves going to do it and loves being around the guys.
I got one last one for you. Troll in the text line comes out with, on the topic of worst draft picks, who do you think was the worst? Dag, Patrick Stefan, or Nail Yakupov?
I don't know. I mean, that's a hard one.
You
but
can't make him ask.
I'm curious.
I
to hear
asked my dad
perspective.
for a Yakupov jersey, so I can't say Yakupov. I actually have a Yakupov jersey, so that was one of my favorite picks.
So definitely not him.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I don't know on that one, honestly.
I think the safe bet's always Dag, right?
I would say, but my dad never got drafted, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, that is fair.
Ty, I'll leave you with this. Jodes in our nasty chat, as we like to call it on YouTube, says Walter was a Canadian icon. He is missed tremendously. So sending some love down to you there. And remembering your grandpa.
Love it.
Love having you on the show again. Great to see you.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bellezy. Thanks, Tom. You guys have a good one.
Yeah,
all right, I'll see you soon.
Go Oilers.
There's Ty Gretzky. See, he knows what he's talking. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Ty Gretzky, great stuff. The Gretzky basement will be a part of the Winter Classic again, for the first time, because it was part of the All-Star game last year, but it's kind of in conjunction with the NHL. And then they're going to run the Gretzky Hockey School. Gretzky Hockey School, so far, St. Louis, 2 Coeur d'Alene, Arizona, and Calgary for the summer have been announced. And Chicago with the quick kind of pop-up 2-day.
Coeur d'Alene's a nice area, hey?
It's beautiful.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to getting back down there this summer, helping Ty out. And Sean McTavish, when he said Sean going back down, I'm like, you gave him the time off?
Nope.
No? Oh, he's just going, huh?
He's just going.
Okay.
That's what Mac T does.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not either.
I'm not surprised.
What a beauty.
That's good. Penner's Pancake says Patrick Stefan. Come on.
Do you think it was actually Patrick Stefan? I thought Alexander Dag had the most hype of all of the guys.
He did have a lot of hype.
And he kind of fell off. Like, I actually watched his documentary. Is it on Amazon Prime?
Yeah, I heard it's good.
It's really good. Kind of showcases a little bit more, and obviously, you know, we've come on this show and we've talked about like mental health and all these different things. And when you look back at his career, that's basically what he said was going on. He's like, there was such an immense amount of pressure on him because he was supposed to be the next guy in line.
Yeah.
The next superstar. And when things weren't going well, because I think when he came out, his first year was pretty good, was it not? And then he kind of fell off a cliff.
And then the lockout happened, and he had to go back and play World Juniors. Yeah, he kind of got caught and Ottawa was terrible at the time.
They were. And he just had so much hype just put right on him. And the minute he couldn't deliver, I think he just put himself kind of into a spiral where it was just like, it was almost too much pressure.
He, interestingly, he did have a decent rookie season points-wise. 51 points, 20 goals, 31 assists, -45. But that team was awful.
That team was terrible.
Then his next season, he had to go back to junior because of the lockout in 94-95. Gets called or brought back in to Ottawa for the 48-game shortened 94-95 season. puts up 37 points, dash 22. The next year, just 17 points in 50 games.
Yeah.
And then bounces back strong
Mm-hmm.
in 96, 97, another 51-point season, minus 33.
Yeah.
Plays 7 playoff games, no points. Then he goes to, he starts the next season in Ottawa, 16 points in 38 games. That's okay. Goes to Philly, puts up 26 in 37.
Yep.
So that's a decent 42 points in 75 games. So he's kind of established himself as a 40 to 50
Yeah,
point
and I think
guy.
it was right around that time. Like I vaguely remember the show, but he was like really talking about those last couple of years in Ottawa. Ottawa is when things were like really bad, and he was just at a spot where he's like, I don't even know if I want to play anymore.
Yeah, well, he gets shipped off to Philly, has a good end to 97, 98, awful 98, 99. He bounced between Philly and Tampa, put up 17 points total.
Yep.
The Rangers scoop him up for 99, 2000, 26 points in 58 games, gets sent down to the AHL.
Yep.
Quit for 2 years.
Yep.
Comes back with the Wilkes-Barre Penguins in 02-03. 38 points in 40 games. Gets called up by Pittsburgh, 7 points in 33 games. Signs with Mini for 03-04, 51 points again in 78 games. Has a good year. Plays one more year in the NHL.
And then he goes off to
Switzerland.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. 28 points in 46 games with the Wild. Got sent down to the AHL in that last NHL season, 05-06. Obviously.
Yeah. I think we missed each other just by 1 year.
In Switzerland?
No.
Oh, in Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah.
Oh, right. You would have just been getting there.
Yeah.
And then, goes to Davos for 3 years. Goes to Freiburg and then back to Davos, or was with Freiburg and Davos, and then Langnau Tigers.
I wouldn't be upset of playing in Davos, that's for sure.
That looks like an awesome place to play.
Man. It's right in the mountains.
That's where Mikko Koskinen went to retire.
Yeah.
Let's call
Not
it
a bad
that.
spot.
Let's call it that.
Playing the Spangler Cup a few times.
Yes.
That's good. Patrick Stefan was an interesting one. That was an
What do you
interesting
make of that? His kid is an Oilers prospect now.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, there's so much talk about busts and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't think I've ever really truly gotten into that talk, because to me, there's so many variables that happen.
Well, you've discussed your own path.
Yeah, and I've seen some super skilled players never make it, but I wouldn't ever consider them like, well, man, you just fell off a cliff. So I've never really truly gotten into that conversation, but I mean, I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Fan bases, when you have a first overall pick, there's an expectation out of them, and people want to see that person carry their team to another level, to titles.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. I know where it is. I just also look at, I look at my career, I look at other guys that I've played with that were in similar fashions as me, and I'm like, well, I know for my career, and I'll just speak to my career. The minute I got traded from St. Louis, tough bounce.
Yeah.
Because there's no other team that's going to give you the best opportunity to make it than the one that drafts you. Because they're saying that's my guy.
That's your home.
That's my home.
Yeah.
And so the minute you take that, me going out of there and becoming part of, I think it was part of Dallas at that time. Well, I'm not Dallas's guy.
Oh yeah, you were with
Yeah,
Dallas.
brief time.
You didn't get called up there, right?
No, I was in and out of there pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I also found out, too, after that my agent at the time, he was a guy that basically forced 2 trades. I had no idea. So by the time
that's the stuff that happens
exactly,
that we don't know
and that's
about.
the stuff that you don't hear. And so by the time I even got my first year pro, I'd now been on 2 teams. So it's like, if St. Louis is my draft team and that's the one that's going to get me, the most opportunity, well, that's gone. Dallas, and then my agent was being a dummy, and then all of a sudden I'm now in Minnesota. Well, it makes it hard. It's an uphill battle. And I'm not trying to use that as an excuse.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, behind the scenes, there's like these different things that sometimes they happen, sometimes they don't. It's an interesting conversation because there's lots behind the scenes.
Yeah. You need a couple of beers and Some storytelling.
yeah, no kidding, eh?
We have to wrap up this segment. I do like the discussion about the worst first overall pick ever. Coyote Steve says Rick DiPietro and follows up with Andre Veilleux, selected first overall by the Rangers in 65.
Andre Veilleux, so he's the one that ended up in Tampa for a bit?
No, he was picked by the Rangers in 1965.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, a little bit
Tampa.
before Tampa became an NHL team. We'll continue that conversation. Text us 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat as well. When we return, our Urban Age Homes insider David Pagnotta will be joining us. So we'll find out, what do they call it? The T on Jacob Trouba. We'll talk Four Nations, and
You
then
sounded so old doing that.
I don't understand. that attempt was so mid and super sus. We'll be back with more Hello Hockey right after this.
Two guys and a goalie.
I don't mind analytics. I just don't like when people are like only analytics and only this, and they're like, oh, you can't do that, guy. And so he's horrible. And I'm like, let's watch the tape. And then let's look at those analytics and say why some of that stuff happened before we make our decisions.
Cass is good in the sheets. The Excel spreadsheets.
I was going to say,
like
Cass, what do you think of analytics? By the way, this episode will be called Cassalytics. Hey, I think it's got to be.
Two guys and a goalie with Gager, Cassian, and Nielsen. Tuesday and Thursdays at noon. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Movies, comics, and television. That's what you get with Friends of Edmonton Sports Talk, the MCTV podcast. Join hosts Corey Graham and Mark Majot Monday and Friday nights at 7 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
We roll on here on Hello Hockey, hour number 2. Tom Gazzola, Sean Bell with you on a Saturday in Edmonton. Ben Thompson making sure everything's running smoothly. Of course, if you're listening on iHeartRadio, tune in, Apple Music, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, or Sportsnet Radio. Thank you. Text us, 780-218-9999 if you're watching on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying a nice coffee, maybe some eggs, Benny.
Ooh,
scrambled eggs.
Amazing.
Fried egg sandwich.
Yeah.
A pastry of some sort.
A donut, perhaps?
From Fox Coffee.
From Fox.
Good coffee. This is keeping me going. Fueling us here on Hello Hockey. As we roll on, we're going to get to David Pagnotta. He'll be joining us shortly over the phone. I do need to mention that portions of this hour brought to you by Local Public Eatery, where you can enjoy any big game you want on the plethora of TVs inside. Regional Manager Dean Lowry says it's the best place to check out any big sporting event. Visit Local Public Eatery locations in Edmonton, Calgary, and Vancouver. Actually had somebody mentioning it to me yesterday that they really like when we're on location there, and they see the one fireplace. There's two fireplaces in the Jasper Ave location.
Yeah, the one on the left-hand side, like right when you walk in the building.
Yeah. And they're like, it looks so cozy in there.
Yeah, it's
very cozy. The food is great. I was there this week.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Brennan, Chris, entire staff over at local Jasper Ave. And what did we have? I had the pinche beef tacos.
Shocker.
But it's super cozy. Super cozy.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice spot.
Yeah. Someone had the, I believe it was like apple pie with ice cream. She loved it. I was like, I'm not having dessert. I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
Who was that, Tom?
Someone.
Oh.
It was a great time. We had a lovely time.
Okay, good.
Shout out to local public eatery. Great to have them on board again this year on Hello Hockey. All right, you can text us 780-218-9999. Like I mentioned, if you have any questions for David Pagnotta, our Hello Hockey Urban Age Homes insider, let us know. I want to get to this comment really quickly.
Hammer those likes, though.
Hammer the likes on YouTube, please and thank you. Via the nasty chat, Larry says, I love Ty, especially the Canada reference, and go Oilers. The Gretzkys are the best. A special bond between, Wayne, but the whole family and Edmonton and certainly Canada as we get set for the Four Nations face-off. This next gentleman, David Pagnotta, our Urban Age Homes insider, I'm sure will be at the Four Nations face-off. Him and Dennis Bernstein will be frolicking about, jet-setting from Montreal to Boston and any other city in between. Pegs, did I sum that up properly?
Pretty much. I don't know if we're having the Apple.
Whoa, Darth Vader's back.
Oh, Darth Vader's
Hey,
back. Benny, I thought you said you fixed the phone.
I tested it, man. Oh, my.
All right, we'll get this sorted out.
Just 1 sec.
Yeah. My goodness.
Oh, that was good.
The Father.
Yeah. That is exactly what it was like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway. Troll has been texting in. Taco texted in and says, I'm just tuning in now, but do you guys think Broberg and Holloway are going to get booed? It's not their fault that they left, but we know the Oilers fans aren't always rational. Are we cool with booing? Should fans have that right? What do you guys think? On a side note, one of them will score against the Oil tonight. Book it. I'll just say this. I'll let you take it, but I'm going to say one thing. Taco says it's not their fault that they left. It's 100% on them that they chose to leave. Now, did the Oilers put them into a good spot? No. 100. So there is some blame for the Oilers.
I'm gonna take it this way.
Take it. Go for it.
I think one of them wanted to leave.
Okay.
I think the other one tried to force his hand to get the Oilers to jump, and the Oilers didn't jump.
Correct. That's a better, more rational way to describe it.
Now, I think that one particular gentleman is going to get booed relentlessly. I just have a feeling.
Okay.
I'm not going to say whether it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that I think he's going to get booed relentlessly.
That's Philip Broberg.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Pags is good to go. Dave, as we were getting everything sorted out with your Darth Vader voice and making sure that's gone, we had a text. You sound lovely, by the way.
Thank you.
Taco texted in. Thank you. And asked about Broberg and Holloway and the revenge match as they make their way back to Edmonton as St. Louis Blues. And I think there will be boos for those guys. There will certainly not be any video presentation. Trust me. But your thoughts on the booing and how the Oilers handled it. And Taco also said it's not their fault that they left, but we know that Oilers fans aren't always rational. And I said, au contraire. They chose to leave, both of them. What do you think, Dave? Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, first of all, just going back to yes, I will be DB and I will be gallivanting around Montreal and Boston for,
of course,
for Four Nations. I don't know if we'll be having any apple pie and ice cream, but we'll definitely be covering Four Nations and having fun there. I would be surprised if there is any kind of welcome back tribute video or anything along those lines. You're right, they did choose to leave. Now, offer sheets, these things happen a lot more behind the scenes in terms of teams approaching free agents and saying, hey, what do you think about signing with our group? It does happen a lot. It just, because they're free agents, they're restricted free agents, other teams can still talk to them after July 1. So that it's not uncommon for, teams to inquire. But obviously, St. Louis took advantage of a little cap situation, and they accepted.
Right.
So yes, they did. They did choose to leave, or at the very least, they were prepared to leave by accepting it. So yes, they made the decision. They made a grown-up decision, and we will see what type of grown-up reactions we will have at the game.
Well, it's an 8:00 start. It's nice and warm here in Edmonton. Downtown was busy last night. I have a feeling that people are going to be well oiled, let's call it, and they may share their thoughts with those players via the old Bronx cheer.
So they'll be singing the blues to a different degree
and tune.
Do you think that they will have a tribute video that's like, I will remember you, you'll remember me, Broberg?
No chance.
What's the Sarah McLachlan one? I will remember you.
Yeah, that's the one.
Beautiful song.
Yeah.
Great song.
Yeah. It's great.
No.
I will. Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic.
Oh, continue. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's exactly the one I'm thinking about. And then they're going to have one clip, and then it's going to show him, and then they're just going to boo. Yeah. That's how you should troll people.
Oh, boy. All right.
Living in that.
Go ahead, Dave.
You know what they need to do? I think every team should do this. You film, when they're filming guys coming into the rink?
Yep.
Film them as they're walking away, and then use that for
100%.
a revenge welcome back video.
Ooh.
I feel like they need to do more of that stuff.
Yeah, we can have fun with this, right?
Yep.
Why is everybody so proper? Everyone, it's always
because it's hockey.
Yeah.
But it's not always proper behind the scenes, so that's why I think it's they should start trying to do a little bit more.
We can have fun with it. Everyone's, we're all grown-ups allegedly, so you can have some fun with it and chirp back, and why not? Trouba gets traded. He's
nice
kind of chirping the situation.
As he
nice segue.
Very good.
So it worked. Sometimes Bellezy, sometimes I'm pretty good at this and professional.
He's our Urban Age Homes insider. He's David Pagnotta. He is very good at this. As he alludes to, Jacob Trouba, speaking of teams and players moving on from one another.
It's a rite of passage.
Yeah,
let's be fired by MSG.
Quote, unquote. What did you make of how everything went down with Trouba and the Rangers, David? And give us what you can. Spill some tea as we can. Was that sus, guys? Was that sus?
Oh, my God.
Did you just
stop? You need to stop.
All right, I'll stop.
Bellezy, after the show, please just sit him down and have a nice conversation with him.
Yeah, like you're a grown-ass man. Stop that nonsense.
I'm wearing a flat-brimmed hat.
It looks mid.
He looks mid. There we go.
Go ahead, Dave.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. They were. I mean, they would have. These conversations went to. I mean, they started last season, where they started kind of exploring where things would be. If they were to move Trouba out, and obviously those escalated in the summer, and they got pretty serious, and it got leaked out, and this, that, and the other. And one of the things Trouba said was, it's a business. I get it. I would have liked to have had things, been a lot quieter, and I can appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't, and sometimes you have to apply pressure to make certain moves happen. And I look, the writing was on the wall in the summer, even going into the season when they didn't trade him before the season started.
Right.
They kind of admitted that this was going to be his last year as a member of the New York Rangers. Now, given the way they performed, this escalated things in terms of his departure, and there were other teams in the mix. There were a bunch of other teams that were knocking on the door and had inquired about him. Columbus had an offer on the table, which he didn't accept. Obviously, he went to Anaheim instead. But Detroit was in the mix to a certain extent. Ottawa was in the mix for a little while. San Jose, and no, this Brady Tkachuk crap was not part of it. But you had there were other teams. So the public perception of what Trouba brings to the table is it differs from what people inside the game believe he can bring. This is it was an interesting move by the Ducks. But at the same time, you bring in a veteran presence, a big body. They're going to continue to try to trade Cam Fowler. So now, this gives them options in terms of other assets that they can bring in, knowing you still have a guy on that back end, a big body that can eat up minutes and replace the minutes that somebody else is going to no longer have if they do move out Fowler. They have other moves in place. So first move for the Ducks and first move for the Rangers, because I don't think either of these two teams are done.
So, like, what actually happened behind the scenes with Trouba and the Rangers? Because yes, we've known that they've wanted to trade him. Is it as simple as his cap hit was too high? Is there stuff obviously behind the scenes we do not know?
Chris Drury, how much of it is him and his way of going about things?
Well, he's very cutthroat. And there's a big "what have you done for me lately" mentality with the Rangers, which trickles down from the owner. Dolan is a very results-driven individual, and he wants the Rangers to do well, he wants the Knicks to do well, and so on and so on. So if things don't work out for a little while, well, you need somebody with some brass ones to take the heat by making big trades and big changes. And Drury isn't afraid, clearly, to do that. That being said, there was some and had been some talk, especially throughout this stretch run of bad hockey, that there was friction building in that room, and that Trouba was kind of at the center of it among some of the other veterans on the group. So I think that factored into why they wanted to make a move involving him now, because they had other options. I mean, Kreider, yes, he was out there. I don't think there was they're not going to move Chris Kreider in a similar type of deal like Trouba. Like they're going to need assets, and they're still looking for offense. So this allows them to free up cap space. It gets everybody kind of on track again. You release that friction, and you hope you put a solid stretch together, and you look to make other moves and bolster your roster in other methods, moving forward.
Speaking of other moves, then, so obviously you see the rumors that are out there with Tkachuk, and I'm assuming that they're nonsense, but you also never truly know when it comes to the NHL. People are always talking because they're trying to improve their team. So is this just, hey, this is a zero chance, and somebody decided to put it out there just to kind of make headlines, or is there a little bit of smoke there?
No. There's okay. First of all, your first point is correct. Like, teams call all the time. Hey, is Brady Tkachuk available? No, okay. And then they'll tell someone that, hey, we asked about Brady Tkachuk, but it's not going anywhere. Well, okay, you report the first part. They asked about him. That happens all the time. People call, and that just happens. But the manner in which this was reported initially, not probably it created a you-know-what show. And, especially in Ottawa, where the Sens are going, what the hell? What? No, we have not explored trading Brady Tkachuk to the New York Rangers.
Right.
They inquired, but that's the extent of it. Like, this pissed them off so much that Steve Staios, their GM, has had to go and sit down with Brady Tkachuk to reassure him that they're not trying to trade him.
Jeez.
So I think this is just something that was amplified and blown way out of proportion. And now, unfortunately for Tkachuk and the Sens, they're going to have to deal with this probably for the rest of the season, speculation-wise, because everyone's going to now wonder, because the Sens, well, they suck, and they haven't been able to get going. So you're all like, this talk is going to continue, unfortunately for them and for Brady and his family. But it is what it is, nature of the beast.
Yep. David Pagnotta joining us now, our Urban Age Homes insider, as we go around the National Hockey League. Text us, 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat. Penner's Pancakes has done just that. Says, Dave, will there be a fire sale in Nashville? Pegs?
Not really, because of the contracts that are there. I don't get the sense that, and Nashville was here on Wednesday, here in Toronto on Wednesday, poked around a little bit. Yes, they're still active, but they want to add to their group. Now, they're not looking to add rentals, but they're looking to add to their core. Like, they're not going to all of a sudden just move, Steven Stamkos for a bunch of draft picks. Like, I don't think it's that type of fire sale.
Okay.
But Barry is looking at ways of being creative in strengthening that roster. I think they are starting to accept the fact that this season is going to be a write-off.
Yeah.
But how do we fill voids and propel us to a better position next season? Which is why since the summer they've been looking for a 2C, but that's certainly been escalated recently. Now the types of moves they can make, because again, like the guys that they could move are under contract and have term. So you're going to have to do the old-fashioned hockey type trade if you're looking to move out one of those pieces. I don't get the sense that they're looking to, sell off, Ryan O'Reilly or Marchessault or Stammer or whomever. But you look at really the only guy in their top six, Gustav Nyquist, is on an expiring deal, so he will likely be moved, and probably for future assets as a rental property. But outside of that, fire sale wise, it doesn't sound like that's the play. At least that's what they're kind of telling us.
Is that team just simply like too old? Because if you look at their core, you've got Forsberg, he's 30, so that's obviously in the midst of his prime. But Stamkos is 34, Marchessault is 33, O'Reilly's 33, Nyquist is 35. Like, you've got a team that in your top six, it's all aging players. And we obviously, we sit here in Edmonton, we talk about the Oilers being too old, but their core pieces are still like in their prime.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's part of it, and that's why they kind of wanted to, like, the mindset was, we feel some of our young guys are going to take a couple steps, so let's insulate them and our veteran core with veteran pieces to put us into contention. And obviously it hasn't worked out. Now it hasn't worked out for a few reasons. Stammer and Marchessault haven't performed. They're getting better, but they haven't performed at the level that we all had certainly anticipated. UC Saros has not been great this season. That's a big contributing factor for why the Preds are junk. Like, a lot of guys are underperforming. Like, we just talked about Nyquist. Nyquist had, what was it, 75, something around 75 points last season, career year, and look at his numbers now and how he's playing this season. Like, that's a big, sad trombone right there. Like, it just hasn't, like, their guys haven't replicated last season, and the guys that they brought in haven't done what they were expected of to do. Yeah. So it's a lot of underachieving, and it's also a bit of an eye-opener for their group that their young guys just also aren't going to be the type of players they ultimately thought they would be.
Dave Pagnotta with us, our Urban Age Homes insider. All right, we saw Luke Richardson relieved of his duties in Chicago. Anders Sorensen takes over. His first practice, he has them doing some passing drills, as Bellezy noted earlier in the show. Any other coaches on the hot seat? And then what do you make of this Chicago situation where Richardson was supposed to be the guy to kind of usher in the Hawks to a new era with Bedard and a bunch of notable signings in the offseason that really haven't panned out?
No, they haven't. I mean, some of their guys, like Bertuzzi, for example, he usually wakes up in January. First half of the season is always a bit of a rough one, but he gets going a little bit later on in the season. So, I mean, they should know that. He's just a late goer when it comes to just his performance. But you're right. I mean, overall, the guys they brought in haven't done well. They haven't complimented Bedard. They haven't been able to bring his confidence level, I should say, up to a top tier level. And we've seen it. He's struggled. And the mental game is now kicking in because, the anticipation, expectation of him being an elite athlete in the National Hockey League, he's not living up to that right now. So now he's doing too much and it's not working. Kind of get back to the basics. Now the coaching change, that caught a lot of people off guard in terms of the timing.
Yeah.
The timing more so than anything. Like, he was on an expiring contract, Richardson. I think there was an option for another year on his contract, but ultimately he was on an expiring deal. With the way Chicago's played, there were a lot of people wondering, well, maybe that's something they do in the offseason, but they do it now. They clearly wanted to get ahead of it. and see if Sorensen can get this team going, go back to the basics, maybe a little too much yesterday, but sometimes you got to start somewhere.
Yep.
But I think in terms of next, Derek Lalonde in Detroit, there's a ton of speculation around him and his future. Greg Cronin in Anaheim, there's a lot of speculation over his future as head coach of the Ducks. A lot of people thought that he might be the next guy.
Jeez.
To go. So it's funny. We get 1 year, a couple of years ago, where there's no coaching changes, and then that usually leads to a bazillion of them happening, and now everybody's considering those options. So I think we're going to probably see more later on in this season. I don't know about now. Detroit's evaluating everything. They're evaluating roster moves. They have a ton of guys on contracts too. Like, they don't have any significant pieces that they could potentially sell off. I think Jeff Petrie and Patrick Kane are expiring deals in terms of top, I guess, quote unquote, top guys.
Yeah. Fair point.
So they don't have much, but they're looking to make wholesale, not holistic changes, but core type of additions to add to their young core, in addition to contemplating what they need to do behind the bench. So will we see one or two more this season? I wouldn't be surprised, especially from Detroit and Anaheim side of things, but we'll see. There's still a lot of hockey to go.
I got two left for you. In the National Chat, Coyote Steve says, Bellezy, hearing from a friend in LA that the Ducks and Oilers talking Cam Fowler with retained salary for Arvidsson. Pipe dream?
For Arvidsson? I've not heard that. And short answer would be yes. Yeah. I don't think that's in the cards.
It's kind of what I thought.
From what I know.
And then the second one, we also had, we've been discussing this earlier in the show, worst first overall draft pick of all time, Patrick Steffen, Alexander Daig, and Nail Yakupov.
Or other.
No, can they all share the award? Nail was, Yakupov was, that might be, like, Patrick Steffen had couple decent years, had some, solid for a bit in Atlanta and then Dallas. Daig did okay too, and then obviously fizzled.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe. I would 1-2 it. I would go Daig and Yakupov, based on the hype that was tied to those guys.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, Daig probably had the most hype out of all the first round pick.
Yeah, Stefan topped out at 36 points 1 year, and then
wasn't he the guy that missed the open net?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And then the other team came back and scored with 2 seconds to go.
That particular play is funny to me because he was actually trying to be respectful. Like, he wasn't going in and just ripping the puck or like doing what some of the guys have done like recently. He was just trying to guide it in, just being like, "Hey, it's over."
Really, Greg?
Right? Like, exactly, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it pops over his stick. He falls over. And like the sequence of talking about playing fast, the Oilers played extremely fast. And then that just ended up in the back of the net. Like, what just an interesting, like whole little 30-second shift, right? Like, it just, you feel so bad for the guy because he actually was trying to be respectful.
Right. I know that's that was the unfortunate part of out of all of it. But I'm still going to laugh. So
it was really too funny.
Yak Daddy, by the way, topped out at 36 points with a whopping -33. Followed that up with 18 points in 33 points with a -35.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Yeah, he was not
that
good.
Was him and Galchenyuk. They were supposed to take over the league.
Oh boy.
And
that's right.
It didn't exactly work.
Yeah, that's a fair point. No. It didn't work out at all, as we like to say. Paisan, great stuff. Enjoy your Saturday and stay out of trouble, okay?
Only if you do.
No promises.
I think that's a safe play now.
Oh, stop it. All right, Dave, we'll catch up with you next week. Yes, ciao, Paisan. Dave Pagnotta, our Urban Age Homes insider. Good stuff, as always, from him. I just want to correct myself. Yak had a career-high 33 points in 14-15 with a -35. I was looking at his penalty minutes where he topped out at 36. He did not have a good career in the NHL. He's still playing with Omsk.
He is still playing. Like, Yak was such an interesting one.
Did you cross paths with him?
I just kind of throughout the city, but I was playing in Europe at that time.
Yeah.
And I'd come back and, you'd see guys. And
I liked him.
He was actually a really nice kid.
Yes. I used to drive him home after practice.
Yeah, I think he got a raw deal.
Yeah.
He wasn't liked well in the room.
He was different.
He was, but I don't think he was well liked in the room. I think that he brought a certain type of energy to the rink. So what I mean by that is when he scores that goal and he goes sliding down the ice, like I think in his mind he was like, man, I am so excited right now. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
And he was showcasing like true raw emotion.
Like a young Theo Fleury.
Like a young player would. And then all of a sudden, he's getting absolutely shredded in the media and by fan bases across hockey for showing too much emotion.
Yeah.
To me, like that situation right there encapsulated everything you need to know about where the NHL was at that time. And two, it changed everything about his game.
That was 12 years ago.
Yep, it was.
All
He wasn't the same after that.
No, he wasn't. We can deep dive into that some other time. When we return, we're going to get to Bellezy's Saturday picks. This guy brags about being 58% every weekend.
Hey,
so we'll hear
first
him
of
boast
all,
some more.
Kids dialed in.
Yeah, it's a pass.
This week it's going to be dialed in.
Sure.
Let's go.
All right. Text us 780-218-9999. Get into nasty chat. We'll get to your thoughts as well when we return here on Hello Hockey, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Sportsnet Radio, and of course right here on EST. More when we come back after this.
Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Movies, comics, and television. That's what you get with Friends of Edmonton Sports Talk, the MCTV podcast. Join hosts Corey Graham and Mark Majot Monday and Friday nights at 7 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join friend of EST, Guy Flaming, for the Pipeline Show, Monday nights at 8 and Saturday at noon, as he has you covered with CHL, CJHL, USHL, NAHL, NCAA, and U Sports, plus the World Juniors, Frozen Four, and NHL Draft on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Elks Call is the newest Edmonton Elks podcast located in Edmonton, discussing everything Elks. Join friends of EST, Scout and Catherine, Friday nights at 8 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Welcome back to Hello Hockey. Tom is just pouring himself another coffee because he is definitely gassed after yesterday's not shinny, glorified shinny.
That's right.
It's a beautiful Saturday.
You're Sean
Gray.
Bell.
This is Sean Bell.
That's
Ben Thompson.
I'm me.
Tom Gazzola.
Good job,
That's
Bellezy.
your
Doing our
first
thing.
ever return.
Good job.
Nicely done.
Thanks, guys. Felt nice. Felt natural.
You're good at it. See?
Appreciate that.
All right. Welcome
Yeah.
back.
Welcome back. How's that coffee taste? It's cold?
Delicious. No, it's still fine.
It's so good.
Text us 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat. It's kind of an open segment, and we're going to get to Bellezy's Saturday picks as well. Portions of this hour, I should mention, brought to you by Performance Chiropractic and Physiotherapy, a clinic built specifically for the athlete in all of us, with a full team of physiotherapists, chiropractors, massage therapists, and acupuncturists, all here to help you live pain-free. Come see us today at our South Edmonton location. I could definitely use Performance Chiropractic and Physio right now. My back is just killing me, man. And then, not to mention, my uncle smoking me when I was on the bench with a puck, an errant puck at the end of the first period yesterday. Ow. Ow, man. Lots to get to.
Yeah.
It's been a fun show. Big thanks to Dave Pagnotta, as always, our Urban Age Homes insider. And then Ty Gretzky joined us as well. Great to have him back on the program. And then, good feedback today. Nasty chat's been humming along all right.
It actually has. It's been very engaged today, so that's good.
Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. On the Edmonton Sports Talk side of things, we're creeping towards 11,000 subscribers, which is great. When we started this station here in Edmonton, after the fallout from our old one being shut down, we were like, why don't we just put a camera on every show and do a YouTube channel as well to coincide with the radio side? And it's been pretty fruitful, I think. I mean, it's spurred the nasty chat. We've got a community that's developed there. This show has branched off into other markets, which is fantastic. So get in there. It's just neat to see the growth and how things have gone. So, anyway.
Yeah, it's one of the better things that happened. I think the live component is a really cool feature because you can
with
see
the
exactly
interaction.
Yeah, because there's lots of interaction
on the YouTube side of things. Yeah, of course. And then text line, we've had that for decades.
Yeah,
which has been great. So you can text us 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat. Let's get to Saturday picks. Sean brags about these every week since we started them a month ago.
First and foremost, we've done it for 2 weeks, so there's that.
I feel like
the first week I went 10-5. It's pretty good. Second week went 7-5. Not great.
No, that's not great.
But this week, Tom.
Okay.
Hundo.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
We're going Hundo. So let's start here in the fine city of Edmonton. Oilers over Blues. It's happening.
Why?
Book it. Because the boys are starting to figure it out.
Which boys?
The Edmonton Oilers are figuring it out. They beat the brakes off the old Columbus Blue Jackets. I think they're feeling it. You got Hyman back. He's starting to score on his chances. He looked like the old Zach Hyman. New just started to chip in. Once those guys are all on board, the Oilers become a very hard team to stop. So I've got the Oilers taking the Blues handedly tonight.
Okay.
8 p.m. start. I've got the Utah Hockey Club over the Buffalo Sabres.
Yep.
I just can't get on board with Buffalo for whatever odd reason.
Because they're not good.
They're not good.
Well, hang on. Buffalo,
Utah's not great either, though.
No, Utah has its fair share of struggles. 4-5-1 in the last 10 are the Utah HC. Stupid name, man.
Love it.
And then Buffalo, I think Kevin Adams had like an impassioned press conference the other day.
He's like, well, there's no palm trees here.
No, did you see the snow at the Bills game?
Yeah, I did.
Yeesh.
I did.
The Sabres, if you're wondering, want a quick update on them, 11-12-3.
I don't think anybody's wondering.
4-4-2 in the last 10 and kind of spinning in neutral.
So I got Utah over the Sabres.
All right, sure.
I've got the Bruins over the Flyers. The Bruins in the midst of their new coach bump.
Yeah. Joe Sacco taking over there.
Yep. So I'm going to go there right away.
They've got 3 straight wins, 6-3-1 in the last 10.
This is where it's at.
Okay.
This is where it's at. So they're going over the Flyers. I got the Jets over the Blackhawks. I was worried about this
That's an
game.
Easy one.
Well, I was a little bit worried about it just because of the new coach bump. But then I was like, you know what? The Jets are too big. They're too fast. They're too skilled. And no matter what kind of new coach bump you have, The Jets are just better than the Blackhawks. So I said, you know what? Jets, you guys are winning it.
Well, they're 4-6 in their last 10. Okay. Yep. Winnipeg, 19-8 so far this season, having a tremendous year. Obviously, a little bit of a setback of late. Now, Chicago, 8-16-2, like we outlined earlier, 2-7-1 in the last 10. They've lost their last 4. They fired their coach, Luke Richardson, yesterday. They bring in Anders Sorensen from Rockford yesterday. His first practice, he pulls off the Gordon Bombay, has them doing basic passing.
Just didn't have the eggs.
No eggs, and then he didn't run his team through the take the fall, act hurt, get indignant. One more time. Take the fall, act hurt,
man.
Get indignant.
That is amazing.
None of that. That's
amazing.
They didn't put Peter Mrazek in the net and tied him to it with scarves and fired pucks at him to get him to be more courageous between the pipes, like Gordon Bombay did to Goldberg.
I don't think they need to either.
No, they don't.
But
okay,
anyway,
continue.
Moving on from them.
Sure.
I got the Hurricanes over the Islanders. Islanders just aren't good. The Isles, Hurricanes are good. It's happening. I'm telling you 100%.
Yeah.
Panthers over Sharks. Panthers are way too formidable of a team to be worried about the Sharks, even though it is in San Jose. Panthers are going to win that game.
San Jose, respectable.
Yeah, respectable team, but they're not
home,
the Florida Panthers.
6-6-1.
I'm sorry. You can be as good as you need to be at home, but Florida's coming in, and they're just going to give you the business. Capitals over Canadians.
Caps are having a good year. Canadians
without
fire with
Oven Chicken, Alexander. They're still a good lineup. They're still deep.
What about Laine?
Apparently, they've completely unlocked Pierre-Luc Dubois.
That's great.
I saw a clip of him the other day flying down the ice, beat out an icing, and I'm like, man, that guy looks different.
Playing with house money now,
100%.
And a lot of money in general,
which is great. So now they've got some, they're deep through the middle. They're a good hockey team.
Caps, by the way,
they're going to beat the Canadians.
Well, they should. Montreal is awful this year, although they have won their last 2. They've got the Patrick Laine bump.
Laine is back. He's been scoring unbelievable goals. Do you see the one-timer he had the other day?
I did.
That was disgusting.
The Caps, 7-2-1 in their last 10, tied for first in the Eastern Conference with New Jersey at 38 points in just 26 games.
Yeah. The Senators over the Predators.
Okay.
They're going to go into Nashville, and they're going to take a piece of Nashville's soul.
Sure.
The Preds, for whatever odd reason, they can't get it figured out. I think they've lost 6 in a row. Could be 7. The Sens
They've lost 2 in a row.
Are you sure about that?
Well, I mean, if there's an OT loss in there,
I'm going to count. That's a loss.
2-5-3 in the last 10. And as Dave talked about earlier,
they're not good.
A wasted season.
So the Sens have been up and down. They're a little bit more consistent to me than the Predators are. The Preds just haven't been good.
Okay.
I got to take the Sens.
That's fine.
The Avs over the Red Wings. The Avs are starting to figure it out. They're humming along. They've got some of the best players in the world in their lineup. The Red Wings can't match. Leafs over the Penguins. As much as I don't want to cheer for the Leafs, it is what it is. They're going to beat the Penguins. And then the matchup of the night for me was the Wild versus the Kings because they're 2 really good teams.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Wild over the Kings. I was uneasy about it because it is a Wild back-to-back. But they played in Anaheim last night.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of travel.
No, it's a freeway.
And the Wild are a very good hockey team.
Should be a good game.
Should be a very good game. Those are my picks.
All right. Well, we'll
Oilers,
review them next week.
Utah, Bruins, Jets, Hurricanes, Panthers, Capitals, Sens, Avs, Leafs, and Wild.
All right.
100%.
I doubt that, but
11 games slotted.
We'll yeah. Now, you were right about Nashville. I mean, you called it a 6-game losing streak. It is.
Yeah.
Officially in the National Hockey League,
2.
It's a 2-game losing streak, but it's winless in 6, as we like to say. 3 OT losses in there.
Yeah, but that's still a loss.
Those are still losses. Yeah. They had an OT loss to Philly, Tampa, And Minnesota, that was 3 straight, and then they lost their last 2. And this whole skid, let's call it, began on the 25th of November, 5-2 loss to the Devils. They did beat the Winnipeg Jets 2 weekends ago, 4-1. That was their last win. Yep. Take the fall. Act hurt. Get indignant.
I agree with this, but here's the thing. I'm going to hear all the favorites. I don't care. I want to be 100% right.
Benny's laughing at you.
I want to be 100% right. This isn't let's pick who I like. This is you got to be right.
You were like barely over 50% last week.
What's the saying? D's get degrees? Well, boom. Just did it.
Aim low and achieve?
Aim small, miss small, buddy.
Yeah, sure. Benny,
at the end of the day,
what do you think of this?
At the end of the day, I have been winning record 2 weeks in a row. That's what matters.
That is what matters.
Don't kiss his ass.
No, but I was about to say.
It's facts.
Still favorites though.
It doesn't matter. Do you want me to come on here and be like, I'm going to pick the Blackhawks over the Jets, knowing full well I'm going to lose? Why would anybody want to listen to me?
I chose the Predators over the Jets. I looked like a genius after.
Well, even a blind squirrel finds a nut, man.
I mean, I don't know. Like hockey's random though, so it's like hard to. I don't know. It's hard to pick in general, but like I don't know the favorites. Like how? I mean, yeah, you probably go 60%.
Okay, so you know what? Next week I'm going to go in. I'm going to pick all the underdogs, and then I'm going to lose. You know what this guy's going to do?
Laugh
oh
at you.
Man, you haven't picked any right.
It's part of the game.
That's part of the game.
Part of the game.
So no, I will not succumb to the peer pressure of this nonsense. I'm going to pick the teams that are going to win.
I'm just going
because that's how it's supposed to do.
Okay, I think the Flyers beat the Bruins. Buffalo and Utah are playing right now.
Tell me why.
Why do I think? Because I think Philly needs a little uptick.
Well, just because they need it doesn't mean they're going to get it.
I think the Boston Bruins are exactly what the doctor ordered for them. And
new coach bump.
Yeah, that might be over. Three-game winning streak for Boston could come to an end. I'll take an upset there.
Is it an upset though?
Yeah.
Really?
Philadelphia's
They're
not
the same. They have like the same record. There's no upset there.
No, Boston's 4 points up on Philly.
Oh, wow.
Philly's been playing good lately, 6-3-1 in its last 10. So I'll take Philly. I disagree with you there.
Okay.
Where else could I see something different happening? I think the Preds could beat the Sens.
That is actually a tough one there.
Yeah.
Well, Flyers are currently leading 2-0, so I guess that.
Oh, I didn't even look at that. I didn't even look at that.
You know, my loss.
Yeah, well.
Sabres are leading. Yeah, that's going to be a blown lead. I ain't worried about that one.
Troll texting in.
Yep.
Says, I wish the Sabres would go back to those black 90s jerseys from the Hasek era. That was the only time their franchise was any good. They do wear those. Mm-hmm. They're their third jerseys now. And Buffalo's been okay. They've had like 15 years of bad teams.
Yeah.
It's a decade and a half of darkness.
Yep.
Tough go, but they did have a really nice stretch from like the late 90s. Actually, they were pretty competitive in the 90s.
And then
LaFontaine, Hasek, Ted Nolan
got dismissed, and it's just been cratered ever since.
Well, they had a good run too in the early 2000s, about till 2007. Then the wheels fell off. Taco, here we go. Taco wants to fight.
Oh.
Tommy, respectfully, how is it Broberg's and Holloway's fault? The Oilers tried to get fresh and didn't sign them earlier because they wanted to save money. Would you turn down a massive pay raise? You got to be crazy not to go. I realize it's their chance to stay or leave, but let's be real. Nobody is turning down a raise like that. Taco.
Well, yeah, you know what? Go ahead. That's your fight.
I don't want to fight. It's the beginning of the weekend. No, Taco makes a good point with the raise and this and that. Holloway is the interesting one. Like the Broberg one, there's no way they're going to match 5.8 million per year for a guy who at that point had played 81 games, didn't really earn the confidence of everyone, He had a great run in the playoffs when he was finally placed in there. I think he played 10 games, right?
Yep.
How do you, if you're the Oilers, I'm not trying to defend them, but how do you go, all right, this guy's kind of been up and down. He's disgruntled. He's played 81 games, hasn't really shown that he can do it consistently. But then he had a good 10 games in the postseason. How do you go, yep, we need to sign this guy, lock him up long-term? You can't. They were going to get him on a probably shorter-term deal, minimal money. There was some talk earlier that, Kenny Holland really dropped the ball because he didn't sign them mid-season last year. You and I have talked about it. Like, you just send 2 guys down. Their agents don't really want to engage in contract negotiations in a moment of weakness or a situation where you don't have much in terms of leverage. Now, is Holloway taking a gamble, like you said, and thinking he had the Oilers in a tough spot, him and his agent figuring that they had to match, and they didn't.
Yeah, I mean...
But it is on them. They made that choice. And like Broberg, obviously we know...
Broberg didn't even want to be here in the first
Exactly.
place.
The Holloway one, it's like... So yes, you can be like, well, they did choose. And that's what I was saying earlier in the show. Now, did the Oilers handle it great? No.
I don't know if the Oilers were trying to be fresh, though.
I
think they were just trying
who was
to...
sus in his use of mid and the T. I don't know what fresh means, per se. Continue.
Oh, man.
Benny, stop it. You're freaking... Every time I use it, you freak out back there.
It's just like, it's so funny. Like, it's just like, Tommy keeping up with the new kids, man. Look at him. But, yeah, no. Radical, just...
Gnarly.
I just think the Oilers
it's
were
pretty a
trying to
mid-attempt, though.
Yeah, it is a mid-attempt for him.
I don't even know if that... Should I be offended? I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry.
The Oilers were trying to clearly take their time. They're clearly trying to take care of some of the other pieces that they felt could come back that more or less weren't coming back. And they chose those older players as a priority as opposed to their younger players. Now, I'm not going to sit here and defend it. I'm not going to say it was right or wrong. That's just clearly what they were trying to do. So I don't think they were sitting there being like, oh, we're going to play games with them. That's what fresh is. They're not trying to play games with them. I just think that they tried to prioritize trying to bring Henrique back because I think they liked what he did in the playoffs and how he solidified their lineup. That's what I think they tried to take care of first. And then by the time that they got to that spot where they're like, okay, we've got all these pieces in place, now let's start to go after, Broberg and Holloway. Mm-hmm. I think other teams were sitting back and being like, okay, this is a perfect time to strike.
Right.
Because it wasn't like they did that stuff earlier when they had an opportunity to. They waited kind of to see what the Oilers were going to do. All of a sudden now, here's Skinner coming into your lineup, okay? Here's Henrique is back. Here's Janmark's back. Like, they just started to bring those pieces in, and teams are going to sit there and they're going to monitor, and they're going to say, okay, well, oh, interesting. Okay, there's a little bit less money. Oh, there's a little bit less money. Perfect time to strike. To me,
and you had a former GM of that team who was disgruntled, unhappy, and rightly so, because he was basically cast aside all of last season. And his very, very good friend,
one of his best friends,
had some money to spend and wanted to refresh his lineup in Doug Armstrong.
And you can't blame Armstrong for it because, hey, I'm going to get 2 players that are young players that are good.
Yeah.
The only rebuttal I'll have to the Broberg thing is that it is hard to jump into the playoffs in that level of hockey. And if you do that well, something should maybe go off. A light bulb should go off in your head saying, yeah, maybe we should sign him.
I'm not disagreeing. I agree with that. But how much could you give him, though?
Which is fair. I just don't think we can't sit here and be like, well, it was a regular season and, he played well in the regular season. Well, there's obviously different stretches and stuff like that. We know the ebbs and flows of the game.
Yeah.
But in the most high-pressure situation, he came in and he was solid.
Yeah.
Arguably, at times, could have been their best defenseman. Arguably, at times.
Sure.
Not saying he was, just saying at times he was very good. He was skating pucks out of the zone with ease. He was making tape-to-tape passes, and we talked in the playoffs, every single time the Oilers got in trouble against the Panthers is because they decided to just rim pucks, and the Panthers D just pre-pinched, boom, it's in the zone. And every time they got it out, guys like Broberg would skate, make a quick play to the middle of the ice, and they were out of the zone. So when I watched that, I was like, well, maybe they should sign this guy because he's clearly taken a step, and he can clearly handle that level of situation.
They would have been in a better spot if they signed him.
Now, obviously, me sitting back on my couch is a different comment and conversation than guys that are sitting in the GM offices every single day saying, okay, well, I've seen this out of him for the last 3 years. That's the problem.
His playoffs were fire.
Yeah.
His body of work in the regular season prior to this season was sus. Did I? No?
No, that's wrong.
No, that's wrong.
Mid?
Mid would be like trashing on him. So.
I don't know. You kids. All right. Flames in action tomorrow in Dallas. They're 5-3-2 in their last 10. Vancouver also in action tomorrow against Tampa. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. Taylor Swift is in Vancouver right now. And people say it's like a life experience of a lifetime, and apparently it's affecting teams' travel and traffic and all that stuff. Jasmine, who's on the Hangout here on Edmonton Sports Talk every week, was like, hey, the Jackets had to fly out to Winnipeg right away because of the Taylor Swift concert. And I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a busy city.
It is.
Very busy. This was a busy show. A lot of fun.
Yep.
Great conversation, as always. That's what we do here on Hello Hockey. We thank you, as always, for tuning in on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player, and Sportsnet Radio, wherever you're listening. We appreciate you. If you watch today, hit that thumbs up button on your way out. If you don't subscribe to Edmonton Sports Talk, please do. Dustin Nielsen, our morning show host, apparently if we hit 11,000 before Christmas in terms of subscribers, will eat pickled herring on air. Blech.
Ugh. Yuck.
Gross. Bellezy, good show today.
It was a great show.
Benny, good show today.
Thank you. It was a good show.
Awesome. Big thank you to Ty Gretzky for stopping by. Gretzky Hockey School. It will be in Calgary. It will be in Calgary this summer coming up. And also, he's got the Gretzky's Basement, which is going to be in Chicago at the Winter Classic. That's going to be really cool. And then the quick 2-day Gretzky Hockey School as part of the Winter Classic festivities as well. Calgary, if you want to sign him up, that camp is always full. It's great. It's at the Flames Community Arenas. It is August 18th to August 22nd. No Edmonton dates, no Vancouver dates.
Yep.
But he did say there might be some more coming down the pike. We'll see.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
Great.
That's going to do it for another great show. For Sean Bell and Ben Thompson, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thank you as always. We appreciate you. The GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show goes at 7 o'clock tonight. It is the revenge game. Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway making their return to Edmonton. We'll see how things go. Flames and Canucks in action tomorrow. All right, for the boys, I'm Tom saying thank you as always. We'll talk to you later. Have a great day.